Hey, what's up, you wrestling fans and fanatics? I'm here with Jamie to do a little Final X preview. Jamie, what's going down?
Not too much. Looking forward to the Final X.
Some great wrestling from the U.S. Open to the trials to Final X. The one thing that's really clear is like we're so deep. We're so deep that there's, it's not even. What's the word I'm looking for? The 10 weight class worlds make it easier, but holy cow, are we rich in talent right now?
Well, I mean, you have former world team members not even making it to Final X.
Right? That's pretty impressive. That is pretty impressive depth. Yeah. So it's two guys from last year's team didn't make it?
Fix and Gross were last year and the year before. Neither of them made it.
Right. And then Zilmer last year.
Yep.
So I think that's it. I think. Yeah, it's
that
deep.
would. So what all weights were contested out in 61? We mentioned those two. And then 92, because Jaden moved up.
Yep.
And then 125, which we didn't medal.
Correct. Yeah, so let's just jump into it. It's this coming weekend in New Jersey. Best of 3 series. Starting at 57, we got Thomas Gilman returning silver medalist, I think. No, gold medalist? Silver.
He won Worlds and got
bronze
at the
Olympics. Wrestling out of State College, Pennsylvania versus Zane Richards, who put on pretty good display at the U.S. Open. What are your thoughts?
Richards is a surprise entry. Nobody thought he was going to beat Suriano. And I agree with your prediction that Gilman and two, they're both been around a while. I'm sure the head-to-heads, there's lots of them. I agree, Gilman and two, it should be one of the lesser contended or questioned weights.
I agree. Richards has climbed the ranks, gotten better. I don't think anybody expected him to take out Suriano. And the Iowa whisper down the lane is, well, who has Gilman beat? Right? And that's interesting. You can only beat whoever's in front of you. So
right.
Whoever's at the weight class at Worlds or the Olympics, that's all you can compete against. And you can say it's not deep, and there may be truth to that. But Gilman is wrestling at the top of his game right now.
Oh, absolutely. He's never looked better since he came to Penn State.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be him and two. The puncher's chance is Richards getting a quick takedown and an ankle lace and trying to get a match. But I just don't see Zane getting through Gilman's head and hands defense. He appears to have gotten a lot stronger, and his angle that his chest is at makes it a lot harder to get underneath that guy right now.
Yeah, and I think they've done some things to change his training to where they gave him a break. He went up to 61 for a little while, didn't have to cut the weight. He was staying on weight year-round previously, and it seemed to wear on him. So they've changed some things up, and he's looked better. I agree. I think it's going to be just too much.
Yeah, the weight thing is a big deal. We've talked about it before. Penn State's I think they're using the training lab method that is rehydrating, and training labs getting more and more popular. Because they take everything into account as far as you making weight. And a lot of the guys, they'll say, we're not actually even cutting weight. We're just watching what we eat. And if you're on that bubble and you're interested, they're out in California Training Lab. They do an incredible job. True third match. I've heard that Suriano might not show up, but it's Nick Suriano, Sunkist Kids versus Jacob Camacho, Wolfpack. I hope he shows up. But I got to think that if he shows up, he's going to be putting on a display.
You would think, but there's so many times where he wrestles appearing to be like close to the vest, doesn't open up. but you would think he would be able to take Camacho without too much trouble.
Yeah, I think there's a strength difference there, and Camacho's got length and leverage, but to me, it seems like Nick has become less comfortable with his attacks, which makes you wonder, like, Camacho get ahead of him? Can he reach in and get a pick? I just don't think he's strong enough to do it. So, I think Nick Suriano in 2.
I agree.
Moving up, we got the on fire Vito Arujau, Spartan Combat out of Cornell, national champ, versus Nashawn Garrett, former Cornell wrestler, now wrestling at the Lehigh Valley Wrestling Club. Kind of a funny EIWA battle. It was close for the first couple minutes at the open, and then Arujau, kind of picked him apart. To me, it's one of these things where Nishan, when he's on, I think he's unbeatable. But I just don't know if he has. I don't know if he has the confidence to go out there and be super aggressive. Like, it looked like he was pacing his cardio at the open versus Arujau, or he didn't want to get caught. But then Arujau kept pushing the pace second period, and it was 9-2, right? So I can't pick him against Arujau after the spring that he's had.
It's definitely hard to, for sure. He has looked so great in all of these matches. Fix, Bravo, RBY to the open. But in reality, Nashawn has been the closest of any of them.
Yeah.
I still think, I'm with you, I still think Vito stays on this run. But I would, if there were an upset, this one wouldn't surprise me.
That would be big. I mean, the season that Arujau's had, so I don't know what it is. Like, I'm not particularly a Cornell fan, but I've always liked Nashawn. And every once in a while, like, I'm not on Twitter that often, but he has these goofy songs when he's at the piano on Twitter. I don't know if you've ever listened to these things about takedowns or mindset. I've only seen a couple of them, but I think they're hysterical. And I like interesting wrestlers. Not that Vitaly is not interesting, but this could be, it could be 2-1. I think I have Arujau in 2, but like, this is one of those things where if Nashawn comes out gangbusters and feels confident, he's got the skills to take it.
Agreed. He's got. Now, we've said this before. That others have speed to match him, but nobody has looked faster than Vito in the last 6 months.
Agreed completely. Third place match. This one is maybe my favorite third place match. Dayton Fix, Oklahoma State Cowboy Wrestling Club, Austin DeSanto, Hawkeye Wrestling Club, Iowa. DeSanto looked really good at the open and then got laced and was out of the match, pretty quickly. And Arujau, I think we talked about it. He got the last 2 laces with one arm. That was just impressive.
Right.
Fix has not looked like a world beater, but he's here. And to me, this is a complicated match.
It seems like 2 guys going in 2 different directions. Fix seems to be regressing with his NCAAs and then what he did at the team trial. And DeSanto is on an upward trajectory. He's learning freestyle. He's learning it. And he's just still improving. I mean, that was a one move match against Vito.
Yeah. Yep. And, I don't know how long I've known DeSanto, but several years. I guess it was his high school years, the first year, his senior or junior year, his first year I met him. He looks like a different person from even a couple years ago. Like, he's transformed his body. He's always been strong, but he looks like leaner, stronger right now. And, if he gets a hold of Fix's tricep, I just don't know if Dayton can stop him. He's got some great counters, but DeSanto is a different animal when he gets to his tie.
The only thing that's working in Fix's favor is that he they've wrestled. He's spelled him. He's seen him. Most people do better against DeSanto on the second or third time they've wrestled him. So he has that working in his favor for sure.
Yep. Well,
I'm with you.
Yeah.
You would think Fix should be the favorite, but he's not looked great the last 6 months. 4 months, 3 months, whatever it is.
Yeah. I wonder if he still has the passion for it. Like, I don't know. Oklahoma State has not had a great few years, and this year with, John Smith is joking about being fired, and, at least a couple kids have said, whispered down the lane, they made the wrong college choice going there. You don't know. I mean, cutting weight and grinding, the way John Smith liked to live a Spartan lifestyle, and that made him tough. Kids today don't necessarily buy that line. So,
well, people have talked about the chemistry and the dynamic in that room with Ferrari, with the Mastros, and it sounded like it was toxic.
Yeah, absolutely. And you see that continuing, like with the decommitments from Iowa, which has already been talked about with the Ferraris going there.
Right.
Or at least one of them. But who knows if there's more to follow, and, the people are hinting about it. But, the chemistry it just speaks to how important it is. Like, you don't want to be able to drive a wedge between your team or your teammates. Right. So I'm taking Fix, but I wouldn't be surprised if DeSanto wins in 2. I got Fix in 3.
Yeah, I agree. You would think Fix has all the experience in the world of so many years of freestyle experience, world teams, all that stuff, but he's got to prove it right now because he has not been wrestling to his top. He's not wrestled to his own ability or his past results.
And he's a kid, Fix, that has never missed an opportunity to wrestle. I mean, cadet team, I think junior team. He wrestles everywhere, and you only have so many matches in your brain and on your body. And I wonder if he's at that. I don't know what his career record is, but if he hasn't wrestled more than 1,000 competitive matches, I would be surprised.
Right. I mean, he's a 25-year-old who still has a year of college eligibility.
Mm-hmm. All right. That's going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to it. Bumping up to 65 kilograms, we got Yanni Giacomo Hollis out of Spartan Combat, Cornell. Silver medalist last year, I think. Versus Nick Lee, the U.S. Open winner out of State College, Nittany Lion. Lee was, at the Open, I thought McKenna was going to crush him and was beating him. And then Lee just kept that pace up, that State College pace, and broke McKenna. Right, that was it. We have seen, Shane Van Ness was beating Yanni with less than a minute left, I think, at NCAAs. Yanni had to tank to come back and then not just take the lead, but open the score up a little bit. So I don't think he's going to be able to push the pace that way, but I'm not sure if Yanni has the same attack pattern that McKenna had either.
Yanni, his senior year, was not as dominant as he had been in some of his previous years. He had more close matches. He dropped one to Gomez. I don't know if it was the world and all that stuff coming off of that it's too taxing where he's been go for 12 months. He's had a little bit of a break here. Maybe he'll be recharged, but Nick's tough. Nick's got big wins. He's beaten Yanni before on the backside of the Olympic trials a couple years ago.
And that was a beating. Yanni might have been hurt, but I've watched that match in the past. Holy cow!
Yeah, I'm pulling for Lee, but Yanni's tough to beat 2 out of 3,
without a doubt. So this is one of the ones that I think it's going to be competitive. I think it goes 3. I think Yanni ends up winning because he can make so many adjustments in the match. If it goes 3, though, I think Lee's gas tank may give him the edge because that guy can just go and go and go. So this is I can't wait for this one. You know, I think I said Yanni took silver. I think it was bronze. I think he lost to the gold medalist last year. I think.
In the finals. No, he was in the finals.
The finals? Okay, my bad. So this is a big one. I got Yanni in 3, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Lee in 3. Yeah, I think if Yanni wins, it's more likely to be in 2, and if Lee wins, it's more likely to be in 3.
Yeah, I mean the schedule is round 1 and round 2 are set with a pretty decent break in between. But round 3 is going to come real fast after round 2. And I don't know that there's going to be a lot of 3-round matches.
Yep.
So that could be the path for Lee to win. But Lee still seems to make these freestyle mistakes every once in a while. And Yanni's got, obviously, more experience freestyle than he does. So Yanni's still the favorite, but, man, I really would love to see Lee pull this one out.
Now, I don't remember if YD was banged up on that backside match where, I mean, Lee seemed to be able to get to his legs a couple times at will, and I think he turned him. Who turns Yanni? I don't, right? Like, I think that was the only time I've seen Yanni, at least live in action, get turned. So was he banged up, or was it, he was just tired, or does Lee have some kind of edge on him in freestyle that Yanni's not used to, that pressure? Yanni's training with Meyer Shapiro, and apparently he's going to be giving Levi Haynes a run at 57 next year. So he's got a pretty good training situation. Lee's got a pretty good training situation at State College. It's going to be fire.
Yeah, and the only thing I heard some stuff about, there's a question of where Shapiro goes next year, weight-wise.
Okay.
I think for the team lineup, there's thoughts that he would be better at 49, but they're not sure if he's outgrown it.
I've heard he's very big. So that's all I know. I'm not going to say. I think that someone I know said he's walking around at close to 170.
Oh, wow.
That's a cut. Now, who knows if that's right? I don't know. That's a high school kid telling me that. So who knows? Going to be a great match. Going to be, as a wrestling fan, you got to love that kind of thing. Third place match, Joey McKenna has looked incredible. And another guy who's really improved at the senior level, he's wrestled at the PARTC down there in Philadelphia. And he's going against Matthew Kolodzik, former Princeton wrestler, New York Athletic Club. Kolodzik battled back at the Open quite a bit. He's been off the college radar for at least a few years, since, I guess, pre-COVID. Oh, he sacrificed his gray shirt the COVID year, wrestled a couple matches, and the NCAAs were canceled. What a screw job.
Absolutely. You would think on paper is McKenna all day, but Kolodzik is a savvy freestyler, and McKenna will drop some confusing matches at times, but the PRTC guys as a whole have been improving and looking really, really good lately.
Yeah. Both guys got great coaches. I'm sure they're game planning the crap out of each other. McKenna almost got in at will on Nick Lee for the first period. Was it 6-1 maybe in the first period at the Open? His attacks were so smooth. I think Kolodzik has a lower set of hips than Lee, but I got McKenna in 2, but I like Kolodzik. He's a gritty competitor, but I just think McKenna is on the rise.
Yep.
Going up to 70, you got Zane Rutherford out of State College, Nittany Lion Wrestling Club versus Tyler Berger, former Nebraska wrestler. And I don't know where he's at. I think he's training at the PARTC right now.
He is.
He is? Okay. He might be one of the 2 or 3 most improved senior level wrestlers in the last couple years because, he has no NCAA championships, and here he is wrestling for the world team, spot.
Yeah, he was a surprise winner of the Open. Definitely, well, he was a surprise winner. He was a beneficiary of
Jacob Butler.
Pantaleo getting upset first round.
Yeah, by Butler.
And he was practically training the entire U.S. Open. Prior to the Open, he was training for Pantaleo.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody was. I mean, that was the guy you had to beat.
Yeah. And maybe the only guy in the ladder that can give Rutherford a real go.
Right.
I think he has a win over him at one point, but anyway, Pantaleo, that is. So I'm going to just say Zane is getting better and better. I think sometimes guys who are more athletic than him at the senior level can surprise him, or even not just international guys, but that's what keeps Yanni, I think, in the match, and makes that one so close when they're at the same weight class.
Yeah, while Zane has freestyle experience, he definitely seems to run into freestyle mistakes here and there. The getting stepped over in Pan Am's the other year.
Right.
I think he is different at 70. I think it's a more comfortable weight. I think Zane obviously is a favorite, but Zane should be able to control and take this one.
I agree. I think that he's got a few more tricks over the last couple years, so he's not so predictable on his finishes. I think he's lingering less in bad positions, and not that Berger can't win, but I don't think he's ready for that level of competition right now. He's got a great training environment, all that's true, and he's made big strides, but I see Rutherford in 2.
Yep.
True third match, Alec Pantaleo, Cliff Keen versus Sammy Sasso, Ohio State, Ohio RTC. Both guys have pretty good resumes. I just think Pantaleo's at a different level. He might get caught with a little bit of funk, but I think he finishes too quickly for Sasso to cut the corner on. And he's a little more compact than the guys who Sasso can use some of that funk on.
Yeah, I think Pantaleo's going to come out ball on fire, proving, just like he did on the backside. That didn't mean anything.
Right.
And he came through the whole tournament, torched everyone. I just think he's going to come out on fire. And like you said, the only scenario of him getting pinned, which is what happened to him in the first match, is that cradle from sitting in the corner, and he knows the opponent, he knows that move, so I think he'll avoid that and win.
Yeah. 74 kilograms, we got Kid Dynamite Kyle Dake, now of State College Nittany Lion Wrestling Club, and Titan Mercury. All these guys are Titan Mercury. They just give money to virtually everybody. Versus fellow State College wrestler, 3-time national champ Jason Nolf. Last time we saw this match, I think it was on Rockfin, and it wasn't close.
Was that the last time?
I could be wrong. Was there one last year at qualifier?
So he absolutely slammed him right off the whistle. I feel like at one of their matches, and then there was a follow-up that was closer, but it's hard to remember details. I think Nolf is still improving, but Dake doesn't lose domestically.
Unless you're Jordan Burroughs, right?
Right.
Right? And that's Olympic champion. So, yeah, I agree with you.
He solved that.
Say it again?
He solved that riddle already as well.
Yeah, he has. He solved it. And now he's moved to a better training environment. And he's training, my understanding was that, his recovery was feeling like a problem for him. And I'm pretty sure he's now using that training lab method so he doesn't have to recover. And I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I apologize. These are just rumors. To help with that recovery, because it's not an easy cut for him to 74 kilograms, I don't think.
I don't think it's hard, but it's not as easy as 79, obviously.
Agree with that, and maybe he's not also used to cutting weight, right? I don't think he ever really cut weight in college.
True.
So, speaking of, we're talking about, teams being divided. These guys are both in that Nittany Lion Wrestling Club room. I don't know how much they wrestle each other. I've heard that they occasionally do, but they generally stay apart from each other. But to manage that situation where you got two guys right here vying for the world team out of the same club, it speaks to the camaraderie or the way they approach the sport.
Agreed. Yeah, and I'll say this. If Nolf leaves, and there's a good chance he is going to leave, it's more related to his wife's soccer career than any in-room dispute battle with Dake.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, his wife's in Ireland or something right now,
right,
playing
Europe,
professional soccer in Europe.
Yeah. Yeah. And, when you're in college, you generally don't have those kind of, relationship concerns. But that, he's out of college now a few years, and the older you get, like, you make sacrifices for your spouse. It's just what it is.
Right.
And I don't know what club he would go to in Europe, but you never know. I don't know what the future holds there, but you're totally right. Like, when she's 3,000 miles away playing soccer, like, do you want to be away from her for that long? Are you as focused? All those things.
So I wanted to put it out there that if Nolf leaves, there's probably a whole lot more reasons non-wrestling than wrestling.
Yep.
For those that may not listen to any of his interviews or have an inkling of knowing what's going on behind the scenes.
Yep. Going to the third place match at 74, we got Vincenzo Joseph, Sunkist Wrestling Club's former Penn State national champ, versus Keegan O'Toole, Tiger Style out of Missouri. Joseph had a mixed bag at the Open. Started out slow and then, got better, but, didn't really have anything for Nolf in the finals. I mean, he had one 4-point move as a counter that he was probably sitting on. I don't know how hard he's training out there. I don't know. It doesn't look like he's added to his game, but maybe I'm wrong. But that's just what it looks like as a fan, not a coach.
Yeah. He's had such a laid back approach and style to his wrestling forever. I mean, you saw him in college and he just looked like he would pop out of the bleachers, go out and just toss some people and throw them. I mean, he just has always looked that very low-key, not fired up kind of guy. He just seems, okay, I'm here. I'm going to do this.
Yeah. You know how strong he is? I mean, he stopped Nolf on some of those shots. He's got everybody's talked about his heavy hips, but it's hard to take that guy down until his cardio starts to fade a little bit. And that's kind of been, I think, the issue at the senior level is, can he keep his cardio up? And, O'Toole he gets too much benefit of the doubt because he's an Askren guy, and Askren's a fairly cerebral wrestling mind, even though he tries to come off as a dummy sometimes. O'Toole could go down with that COVID year as a 4-time NCAA champ, and Nolf was up 9-0 on him at the Open in the finals and couldn't tech him in the second period. So I'm taking O'Toole in 3. I think O'Toole has more passion and drive right now. Can he solve Vincenzo's throws? I think O'Toole knows how to, scramble. Is he going to be ready for any throws? Maybe he'll feel it once and have to make an adjustment. I don't know.
I was going to ask you, are the third place matches actual best of 3, or are they single matches?
I don't know. I've heard both things. I wrote down best of 3, but I think it's a single match.
Okay, that's kind of where
Yeah.
it dawned on me after looking at a couple of these. I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't remember them being series in the
Yeah.
past.
And the other thing we didn't
But,
say is Vincenzo qualified last year and didn't show up. I don't know if we have verification that he's even going to be there.
but that was against the Penn State guy.
Agreed.
So by him not wrestling, Starachi got the U23 spot because he made the world team.
Yep.
So that's – and Vincenzo he's had a couple small little injuries. He's had little tweaks here and there over the last year or two since he came back. So I don't read much into him not showing last year. The bigger thing to me with him was when he literally stepped away from coaching to focus on wrestling. It's like, okay, he's putting all his eggs in one basket at this time.
Yeah, that's a big move because it seemed like he and Cole were they were at least having fun publicly. And,
Absolutely.
Yeah, so curious to see what it's like down there. Arizona is, their cheerleaders are always on, top 10 lists. And can you stay focused? It's like, why the Miami Dolphins probably will never win a Super Bowl again. South Beach is just too distracting. So I don't know what to say. We'll see what happens. Who you got?
I think Keegan is going to have more interest in winning than Vincenzo. So I think I think Vincenzo is, at this point in their career, probably better. But I think O'Toole's going to want it more, and I'll say he wins.
Gotcha. Me too. Bumping up to 79 kilograms, we got Jordan Burroughs out of the Pennsylvania RTC, former Nebraska champ, versus Chance Marsteller out of the New York RTC, former Lock Haven / Oklahoma State, Penn State commit wrestler. Chance took a match from him last year. Chance is hard to score on with those low hips. What do you think about Father Time, Jamie?
He hasn't lost yet. I think Jordan gets it, but it could be another 3-match one. I think Chance is improving. He's definitely – I just don't think he's got enough offense and Burroughs has got enough of a book on him. He's wrestled him, felled him, all that, game plan. I think Jordan's going to get this one and unfortunately probably have his career end at the trials next year.
Yeah. It's at 74, I'm guessing you're talking about.
Yeah.
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 Marsteller
spoke about the weight cut in they did Final X interviews with Helen and Jordan the other day. They did a Zoom call, and Jordan talked about the going down and the 6 months shrinking the body process and all that stuff. 24 is it. He knows that. He's very comfortable with. He's got a clear time frame. He's got everything's lined up. He knows what it is, when to do what. I think this is going to be his swan song. He'll go to Worlds, probably do something pretty good, and then probably run up short against Dake. That's
the fairy book ending for Jordan Burroughs, maybe. That would be 8 world titles, world and Olympic titles this year. Does he have 7 right now, I think?
I think so.
So I'm taking chance. I'm calling it now. I think after talking to his coaches at the NYRCT, I don't know what it is. Father Time catches all of us. It'll be interesting. I'm guessing it's going to go 3. I'm taking chance in 3, but obviously I wouldn't be surprised if Burroughs wins in 2. He's a phenomenal wrestler, one of the top 3 international wrestlers, I think, in American history. And I'm guessing that order is going to change over the next few years anyway. Whether it's John Smith, Bruce Baumgartner, Jordan Burroughs, with Dake and Taylor, You still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm looking forward to this one. Great matchup. And, again, fans, make sure you tune in or, DVR it or whatever it is, because this is, what a great lineup here. So I'm calling Marsteller. You can tell me I looked bad next week, Jamie.
It's not as long of a shot as it would have been last year, the year before, and all that stuff.
Yeah, I agree. And was the last year match? I mean, I don't want to say it was a fluke that Chance won, but he got a couple breaks there on a step out or a push out. So
yep.
Anyway, third place match. This is going to be interesting. Alex Derringer, former Cowboy, now Cliff Keenan guy, versus David McFadden, out of the PARTC. McFadden has looked really good. Another guy out of the Brandon Slay RTC over there that has just really jumped in levels here. I think it was either 3-time All-American or a 2-time All-American. I'm not sure. And here he is, fighting for third in on the pecking order for the world team. So Derringer has been ranked as high as 6th in the world. And it just doesn't feel like his aggressiveness is where it should be. He's one of the most humble, nicest guys I've ever talked to. Actually, both guys are. They're super nice guys. It's just funny when you see a guy who has zero edge going on. The biggest edge I've ever seen out of Derringer was him telling Starocci to humble himself at the Open. So interesting stuff there. I will, I would have bet that it would have been Burroughs and Derringer, but here it is. And I'm taking Derringer. Although it feels like it's almost like Fix and DeSanto that McFadden may be on the ascension here.
I agree. I think it's Derringer. He's healthy again. A lot of these guys, for humble, not wanting to put targets on them, whatever reason you want to call it, don't talk about some of their injuries. But Derringer has been beat up a lot in the last couple of years. Who's the Michigan Olympian at 86?
Amin?
I'm gone. Amin, yes. Amin has talked about it in some of his interviews about Derringer as his primary workout partner being like he just came off of the this injury and coming off of that injury and some of that stuff. So he kind of shared a little bit behind the scenes that Derringer has not been healthy between the knee, shoulder, this and that, a few other things. So I think he's healthy now, and I think he's going to start winding back into shape. And I wouldn't be surprised if he is the 79 rep next year.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that makes sense with Burroughs going down. So, he's got such talent. The Michigan room we've talked about, Cliff Keen. They got the Russian coach. I can't think of his name off the top of my head right now. They've got so much. Say it again. Yes, yeah. They've got KJ. They've got Bulliard. They got Bourmet. They just got a ton of talent, and they've got a bunch of really good wrestlers. It's interesting, talking to some of the guys, who's the king of that room, and it's clearly Jaden Cox. Well, that's a pretty good king to have in your room. I'm just saying, right? Like, plenty of world medals, Olympic medals. So, going to be a good match. Looking forward to it. Jumping up to 86. Got David Taylor out of State College, Penn State guy, versus Aaron Brooks, State College, Penn State guy, current guy. Intriguing matchup, huh?
Yeah. I still can't bet against Taylor, but you hear the rumors in the room, others say it, and people say Brooks pushes him, and that's alone says a lot.
Yeah, yep. We've talked about it in the past that maybe a 2 point match in that room again when there's bright lights out there. So look, Brooks was losing to Valencia, didn't look like he was going to be here, and then he just kept plowing, and then he broke Valencia at the Open.
Right.
And Taylor's been there. It's been talked about ad nauseum. Taylor's taken him as his training partner to Japan. Aaron Brooks has learned how to use that Yazdani left side underhook, which can give Taylor a hard time if he's not on his horse. How much of a real look are they giving each other? How much hidden things do they have from each other? Brooks, I don't think, can break Taylor's conditioning the way he took out Valencia. That was remarkable. I thought if there was a towel, Valencia may have thrown it in at the Open. He was done. I just don't see that kind of comeback happening. But is he able to block some of Taylor's, attacks? Will either of them come out tight because of the situation? I don't know. They both seem super relaxed at the senior level right now, or I guess Brooks at the, burgeoning senior level. I can't bet against Taylor, but this is going to be surprising. The closeness, I think, but I'm still taking Taylor in 2.
I agree, and it could be near the end. Taylor almost didn't come back last year. So could he be like, let me get this one last World and Olympics and then ride off and then hand it off to Brooks? I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, but I would be surprised if Brooks pulls this off.
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as you hear that questioning of motivation, but then he came back after. That was after. So he won the Olympics, took second at Worlds. I think I have the chronology right.
Yes.
Alti Yazdani, and opened up about being, questioning how long he wanted to be there. Does he make the? If he beats Brooks and wins a gold here, wins a gold in the Olympics, which he's kind of the favorite to do. He goes down as one of the top 5 medal winners, I think, in American history, right? Would that be right? That 4 golds,
2 Olympics, it puts you in very elite company,
right? That Burroughs doesn't have 2 golds in the Olympics; he's got 1.
Right.
You got Bruce Baumgartner and is it
nobody else recently?
Nobody else recently. I'm not sure if KJ has that or not. Anyway. The point is that this is going to be a good match, and this could tear a RTC apart, but this is a second state college on state college matchup, and it doesn't seem to be doing that.
I think there's enough age difference that it might not be that.
Yeah, maybe.
It's tearing apart kind of thing. Nolf and Dake are much closer in age and career timelines and all that.
Yep.
This is a guy still in college, and Taylor's been out for 8 years.
Yeah, long time. God, time flies.
Something like that, because he didn't make a team for his first 3 or 4 years.
Correct. Right, he was all over the place, wrestling Burroughs, wrestling Jaden Cox,
right.
Yeah. So that's and is there any big brother in the head of Aaron Brooks? He's taken him to he's taken him as a training partner, but you never know until it's crunch time what's going on inside your head unless you've really explored it deeply. Brooks is supremely confident. I think Taylor is. I think Taylor just has more options right now on the freestyle technique, matchup. So taking Taylor.
Agreed.
Now, have you heard anything about Mark Hall? I put in here in my article, that with Valencia going up to 92, that they were going to put someone in there, Hidley, to face Hall. But I have not been in the wrestling circle.
I haven't heard, but your general logic makes sense that Vahid would have vacated that opportunity and it would go to the next guy.
Right. Yeah. So either way, Hall has looked pretty good, and I would take Hall, whether he's unopposed or not.
I don't know. I mean, I'm still in the camp. He's a 79.
You're right. He looks so much smaller than everybody.
I mean, Hidlay just said he's moving up to 97.
Did he really?
Yeah. For the college season, he's going up to 97. 197, not 97 kilos.
Gotcha. That's all right. I got you. Sorry, distracted by my daughter texting me. Yeah. I mean, Hall looks the smallest of anybody that I saw at the Open competing with anybody else. I know there was someone else who looked kind of small, but Hall, I mean, he clearly looks like he's a weight class smaller than everybody, but he's skilled. And my guess is he just doesn't want to cut any weight.
It's interesting. Arena's got all the matches up. They don't have a true third for 86.
So I guess it didn't happen. I'm trying to remember who. Somebody mentioned it to me, but I can't even remember who it was. So maybe he'll just get it unopposed.
For 97 and 125.
Say it again.
They only have true thirds listed for 57, 61, 65, 74, 79, and 92.
Interesting. I wonder if that has anything. Well, you said 92. It's Jackson versus Moore is up?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Nate Jackson was putting some stuff up there that I was looking at on my way over here, so I was just curious. Well, I guess we'll find out. So maybe he's just unopposed. He'll be third on the ladder. Going to 92 kilograms, we got Michael Machiavello, Wolfpack RTC, former NC State guy. Zahid Valencia bumping up from the U.S. Open from 86 kilograms to 92. ASU guy, Sunkist Kids guy. I don't know how much weight Valencia was cutting to get to 86 at the Open. Not a ton of.
He weighed in a kilo light.
A kilo light. So.
At the World Team Trials, I think at the Challenge Tournament in 92, he weighed in at 85 kilos.
So, wow. I mean, at the World, he was at 92 for the World Team Trial.
And he weighed in at 85 kilos.
Oh, jeez. Holy cow. I mean, he looks...
walking around at 86.
Yeah.
I believe that's what I heard in some podcasts.
Interesting. Well, I mean, no, I don't think anybody was expecting Mike Mock to make the run. He's like Berger, one of the most improved guys. I think everybody thought it would be Colin Moore and maybe Nate Jackson. I don't think Machiavelli can stop Valencia's attacks. My perspective is, does Valencia have the gas tank? Or does Machiavelli have the gas tank and the style to counter Valencia's lack of a gas tank? Thoughts?
I don't know. I mean, Mock just did a great interview on, I don't know if it was Batchamania. Somebody did a really good interview with him and just talked about how he started wrestling as a freshman in high school, never wrestled more than November to February, walks on essentially at NC State, and then wins the national title as a senior. I mean, the guy is literally still learning the sport.
Right.
But I think Zahid, despite the size, unless Machiavelli can really throw his weight strength around, I think it's Zahid all day.
I just think, Zahid's attacks, and going up a weight class, his speed just becomes more pronounced. Because, he's not putting on any weight, but Machiavelli's not used to seeing that kind of speed. And if you're faster than Aaron Brooks, oh, jeez. Like, you're fast. Because Brooks ain't no slow guy.
Nope.
So it's one of those things where I think Valencia gets a lead early, and at the trials, I don't think anybody really pushed his cardio. He didn't have to put up with an Aaron Brooks there. Who did he beat in the finals? I don't know if you can pull it up, but say it again.
The NCAA finals?
No. To qualify here.
Well, he went through Jackson and Colin Moore.
He went through both of those guys. Who, like Colin Moore and Jackson, doesn't look like he did last freestyle season, and Colin Moore just didn't push him. Valencia looked a little bit tired, but Colin Moore looked just as tired. So
Colin Moore looks hurt. He had that banged up elbow or something.
That might be it, right? So let's see. I've calmed down. So I'm taking Valencia. Until proven otherwise, the guy's got unstoppable shots from an opponent. It's whether he stops himself with his cardio.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think it's Zahid, and this is one where people are arguing if Zahid wins and Aaron Brooks loses, Brooks should get a wrestle off.
That's hysterical, right? You're right. I can see that, and I've heard some other people say that there's a danger of putting Zahid on the team because he might not be able to wrestle. If you, I don't even want to say it publicly, but if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. So I hope that he's not gonna fail something going into the Olympic or the Worlds. But call it that. So I'm taking Zahid. If Machiavelli gets on top of him, can he turn him? Well, he's 12 pounds bigger than him, probably. Because Machiavelli is not a huge 92-kilo guy. So I'm not sure where he's weighing in at. But it's interesting. Machiavelli will keep climbing that ladder. I didn't know. I thought he started in middle school, 9th grade. That's amazing. Right? Yep. Peaking at the senior level. That's good stuff. True third.
Yeah, that's some real growth. That's some Pat Pop doing some awesome coaching.
Yeah. And I've heard... I don't want to take anything away from Pat Pop, but I've had a couple kids tell me NC State didn't develop as much this year because Donnie Vinson left and went to Cornell. Oh. And I've heard only great things about that guy. There's certain assistant coaches you hear that are great technicians. Kendrick Maple and Obi Blank, Donnie Vinson. I'll leave out the real popular guys, but I've heard that they've really missed his presence in the room. So I
wouldn't be surprised if that's true.
Yeah.
The OB part, the way that people are jumping in the portal from NDSU is kind of surprising.
Right. So if they don't all go to Oklahoma, then is the rumor mill correct? Because I've never heard anybody say anything bad about him as a coach or a leader ever.
No.
So
exactly.
So if they're not all going to follow to Oklahoma, what's going on?
Right, because NDSU did the right move and named Obi immediately.
Immediately.
No wait. Wanted to let the guys know we're keeping your assistant here, keep your continuity, keep some of the guys that you guys are working with in the room, but yet all these guys are taking the opportunity of a coaching change to go in the portal.
Yeah.
Now, maybe they stay in the portal and they don't leave, but it's still really surprising.
It's interesting, and there's been a few guys who've been in the portal like consistently and never changed schools. Is it a money play? I don't even know at this point. Like, I don't know. I only had one connection to NDSU a few years ago, and it was not good. So I don't know what it is, like why they would do that after it's got to be. I don't know. If they're not going to Oklahoma, it doesn't make sense. And there's something, fishy in Bismarck.
Yeah, and I agree. If they're not dedicated to Kish, then there's something else going on.
Yeah. Yep. Third place match. So is the third place match up there with Colin Moore's injury?
It is.
So Nate Jackson, Colin Moore. We'll just say neither guy has looked like themselves. this I would say this spring, whether it's injuries or mental, whatever it is. Um, you know, I thought Moore was going to win the Open. Injury, I don't know. So I don't even know what to do here. I talked to both guys at the Open, and they both told me they were going to do better next year, or some variation of that, Jamie, which tells you that there's things going on this season that just aren't going their way.
Yep.
Yeah, both guys have flashed big stuff in the past. I mean, Colin Moore looked really good. Nate Jackson was kind of a surprise, made some leaps at the with Reese Humphreys over at the NJRTC. So I don't know. I don't even know who to pick there. I would take Jackson, but I just don't feel like he's wrestling very well. So I don't know how motivated he is, or if he's injured. And is Moore injured? Is he recovered? What version of a third place match are we going to see?
Yeah, you would think if Moore's healthy, he gets it. But like you said, neither of them have looked real good lately.
And by real good, I mean like world team members. Like they're very good. Every once in a while I get hate mail from you guys. So all right, 97 kilograms. Kyle Snyder, Nether State College, Nittany Lion Wrestling Club, former Buckeye, versus Jaden Cox, now at Cliff Keen, former Tiger Style guy. Well, he's traveled all over the place. He was a Missouri wrestler, then at the NJRTC, and was he in Arizona as well? I don't even. He was floating around. We saw this the last time we saw this matchup. I think you can correct me if I'm wrong. Was a built-up match on Rockfin where Snyder won in pretty good control.
Yes, it was a very handled, controlled win in a match that had nothing on the line, but it answered a million questions for people about how that would go, but it didn't have anything on the line. And was Jaden not taking it that serious? And was that the motivation for him to drop down, to prove people that was wrong? I don't know.
Jaden's one of those guys, super. I mean, he's almost, he's so nice to talk to. Snyder, pretty nice guy, and they don't seem like they've got any edge. I mean, Snyder put the little documentary, going to not Russia, Dagestan, to hang out with whoever beats him. Yes, Hadjilayev, right? So, and Cox looked like he was going to be gangbusters, and then like he's missed weight and had some underperformances, and at least from expectations. And then there was the Kevin Jackson leaving USA Wrestling because they thought he was responsible for, or I don't know who was saying it. The rumor mill is he was let go because he missed the weigh-in time, right? Right? But now they're training together at Cliff Keen. KJ is there as a coach. So Cox is speaking with his words or his deeds, not his words. Like, he's KJ's guy. So this is going to be interesting. I mean, do we learn anything from that Rockfin pick card? I don't know, right? It was not like anything other than some money on the line. So, I mean, I got to go with Snyder, but they both have great training situations. I mean, Cox has Kuhn, Paris, the Russian guy who Bella, whatever, what's his name?
Bella Gonzalez is the coach. KJ is the coach. Bourmet.
So the point is, he's got a lot of big guys and Amin to go with.
Yes.
And
Geringer.
Well, I don't know if he wrestles that high, but maybe. And then, Snyder has got, Kale, Cunningham. He's got Varner, right? I mean, it's a crazy big man room in both of those places.
Kirkfleet.
And I'm sure he wrestles Taylor as well. Like, So I'm taking the reason I think I'm taking Snyder is I think that his training situation is a little better, and I think that he's still driven to be. I know the word is that Russia's back at Worlds. But Ukraine launched an offensive today. Who knows what's going to happen if Sudalayev is going to be there at Worlds? And he's the only guy I think that can beat Snyder at this point.
No, I agree with Snyder. The world stuff, Rich Bender had some good comments on that on a podcast about some of that situation, about having to wrestle in the Continental, which they didn't do. So, I don't know. I don't know if you'll see him at Worlds. Olympics might be more of a likelihood, but you might not see him at Worlds.
So if Snyder gets on the team and gets another gold medal, that is his 5th, I think. And he's not even 30.
Oh, he's real young.
Right? Like, I think he's 26 or something. So
he's already wrestled 2 full Olympics.
2 full, right? So he won gold as a college junior, maybe.
Yep.
And then did like the senior circuit his senior year, or the world circuit. So it's one of those things where he doesn't get nearly the respect that he deserves, I think, because he's in the class with Jordan Burroughs, who is just, I don't want to say he's a media darling unless you're NBC and you carry the Olympics. So
and Snyder's behind the GOAT with Sendulayev.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So I'm taking Snyder. I think that he has a better game plan right now. I think that Cox has got a lot of talent, and if he was more aggressive, I think it would be more of a match. But the last couple of times I've seen him, he has not opened up his gas tank. So I don't know if he's confident or not, but taking Kyle Snyder.
I agree.
Is there a third place match listed at 97 kilos?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Going up to 125, Gable, All-World Stevenson, wrestling out of the Gopher Wrestling Club, former Minnesota wrestling champ. I guess he still has another year of eligibility, right? Because of COVID. Who knows?
He does. I don't think he's in school. I don't think you see it, but he's not getting touched.
Yeah.
Until Worlds.
Yeah. So he's got Mason Paris, Michigan national champ. Pretty good year this year. Cliff Keen. I mean, I don't want to say Paris destroyed him, but I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't want to say Stevenson destroyed him, but I mean, he had a great year, and Stevenson made him look like he was, not someone to contend with at the Open.
You've never seen a Hodge Trophy winner get destroyed within months of winning the Hodge Trophy.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. And, Paris has created some real separation for himself with Hendrickson and, the rest of that, everybody else right now. And Stevens
is definitely fallen out of that group for sure.
Yeah.
Paris has him figured out at ease, but I think Gable is just at another level that none of these guys can sniff.
I agree with you. We've gone back and forth about what's harder to win, a world title or Olympic title. It's one of those things, his Olympic run, you can say, who did he wrestle? Aging guys. No one, but you can only wrestle who's in front of you. So, whether or not his personality works out for professional wrestling, I think he could be one of the all-time greats, for men's freestyle. So it's obviously Stevenson, and, who is going to stop him to win from winning a gold medal? I don't know.
A big Iranian is like the only likely one.
Yeah, maybe.
And I don't know which one it would be at this point because they haven't determined it yet. But right now it looks to be like that's the matchup.
Yeah. So with all that said, what are your thoughts on any other thoughts on this?
I think it's going to be great. Disappointed I'm not going to be there, but too many things going on. But I think it's going to be some awesome, awesome wrestling.
I was trying to use that little network time killer to look up the UWW rankings at 125 kilograms, but my computer is not cooperating. So I'm looking forward to it myself, Jamie. It's going to be some great wrestling, and our forecast is for cold rain. So I'm hoping the forecast is actually right. So we'll see what happens.
You mean you don't want to have to? You want to be forced to stay inside?
I want to be able to tell my wife and my kids, like, yeah, we're just going to stay in today because, yeah, it's going to be cold and wet out there. Can't go out in the lake or do all those fun things. So we'll see.
The UWW rankings don't look accurate. Oh, wait, what? Let me see. What style is that? It says freestyle. What? I don't think any of the U.S. guys are in because I don't think they went to any of the ranking tournaments that they've had since the Olympics.
I was expecting that. I guess I was just seeing if there was anybody from the world that you would look at and say, oh, this guy or that guy is ranked, in some way that give you an idea of he's going to give Stevenson a hard time or not.
The one Iranian, Amin Hossein Tahari, is ranked 4th, but that's not the name of the big guy. It's not Zare. Maybe this is the younger guy that beat up on Feldman last year.
Right.
I'm not sure.
Right. And Agul is, I think he was ranked number 1 last year, but I don't know how old he is. Is he 36 or 38? I thought he was pretty old. Maybe it's just Petrashvili, the Georgian, that was older, but
they're both long in the tooth.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's any other young and up-and-comers. The Russians haven't, have they had a really dominant heavyweight since, it's usually Greco big guys that seem to be their forte, not freestyle big guys.
Yeah, the heavyweight against the one that was doing both freestyle and Greco is the last big one that is memorable to me. But they're not in the rankings because they haven't wrestled at all.
Right. All right, well, people, don't miss out. Going to be some really good wrestling at Final X. Any closing thoughts, Jamie?
If you can get there. There's lots of tickets available. It's a 20-some thousand seat hockey arena. Last I had heard, they had pretty much filled the lower bowl, which is over 8,000.
That's good.
And they're trying to get more.
So even if you're not going, I might just buy a ticket just for the hell of it. I know that people were complaining about the price, but the point is, if you're not going to put your money where your mouth is and support it, it's not going to grow. And I went out and I bought like 5 college programs or RTC T-shirts this year. Had some money. I thought I'd support wrestling.
Yeah, this is the first time. Everyone has complained about the format in the past, about too hard to travel because it's spread out in 2-3 locations. This is 1 location, 3 mats. Greco's on 1 mat, women's is on 1 mat, men's freestyle is on a separate. You're going to have 3 separate mats going continuously on their own mats, all in 1 giant arena. It's got more technology than anybody else. It's got the biggest, largest indoor screen for that size arena. It's gonna be exciting.
Hopefully, Flo has the feed worked out, and we all get a good product.
They shouldn't be able to blame the building.
They shouldn't, right? Like, that's state of the art. So, all right, Jamie, good talk, and maybe we'll wrap it up afterwards.
Sounds good.